Hey everybody, my name is Robert Guerra from Dow, and this is Hey Bay City.
Robert Guerra from Dow, you are officially the earliest guest. I heard the door open. I was like, "Ooh, Robert is excited for this interview."
I'm an early riser. Usually 3:30, 4 a.m. at the gym, and then here.
See, I'm an early riser too. 4 a.m. is usually my wake up, and then get to the office around 4. Have you always been an early riser? Has it been a necessity thing, or?
No, it's a skill I had to learn if I wanted to get to the gym and knock that out before I got out of work and had to do the coaching, the kid stuff, the running, the family stuff.
Yeah,
right?
I was just gonna ask you if you had a family.
Yeah.
I think I'd be an early riser anyway, but when you have 3 kids and a wife and a family at home, it's really hard to come home from work and say, "See you guys, I'm off to the gym," and then "See you guys," and no, you wouldn't see them. So it's easier to just wake up at 4. Everybody's still unconscious. You get to do what you need to do and call it a day.
Yeah, but that means you got to go to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock when they go to bed, right? So
yeah.
Or
you just don't go to bed at that time, and you just never sleep ever.
Yeah.
So before we get into the nitty gritty of apprenticeship, because I love talking to you now because it's National Apprenticeship Week, and I get to talk to you, and you're like the apprenticeship guy at Dow. Before we get to that stuff, I want to get to know you because I didn't know I've never met you before. So start me from the very beginning. Did you grow up here? Where'd you grow up? And let's kind of take your life up until now.
Yeah, so I grew up in Bay City, born and raised Bay City, Michigan. We moved out to Colorado when I was young, but came back in that first grade, second grade time frame, Washington Elementary, Bay City Central, all that stuff. Currently reside in Bangor Township with my wife, kids, John Glenn. They go to John Glenn, so very active in the area, coach football for Glenn. 7th grade team, so go Bobcats.
Oh, nice. How'd you like football coaching?
I like coaching youth sports. So once they hit high school, I'm done.
Too competitive at that level for you? Like you're more about kids and helping them play?
They start getting bigger than me, so I can't yell at them the same way, right? And help coach them.
Depends on the parents, but yeah, I mean, you get to high school and the stakes are higher, and things can get a little bit more serious, a little bit more intense. So I feel that. I used to coach high school football, so I feel you there.
Yeah. So through that, like I said, we reside in Bangor Township. I've always been in the Great Lakes Bay region. I started my career at Dow in 2008, and I was looking for that way into Dow. I didn't know anybody that worked for Dow. I didn't have an aunt, uncle, parents, nobody that could kind of give you that referral form you always hear about, right?
Yep.
If you just get your foot in the door, So I found my way through an entry-level position in their logistics family. At the time, it was very much warehousing, learning how to drive a fork truck, very limited hands-on tools and skills, and you had to learn all that. So I like to say I unofficially went through an apprenticeship program, right? So when I transitioned into that operations space, I was given a mentor. I was given the opportunity to learn a few more things. Again, limited tools until they trust you, right? You're an apprentice. You're learning from a skilled individual to learn a skilled trade. So went through that, operated in the plant 10 plus years, went through the advising phase of kind of coaching operations and training and doing all that kind of stuff. But my eyes on the apprenticeship program were always there since 2015 when Dow started the program. I wanted to be that individual, especially in the Great Lakes Bay region, that could reach out to folks that didn't have a parent, maybe came from a different background, didn't know anyone in Dow, and then help guide them through a pathway into a good paying job, which also guided you through Delta College and getting associate's degree. I'm big on a debt-free degree. So if the company's willing to put you through the schooling from a more formal educational setting, and then you come in the plant and learn the technical skills, it's successful for everyone. Everyone. So I recently took the role in April and have been involved pretty heavily in the recruiting process lately, really trying to reach schools that we don't always get in front of. So I'd say everywhere from Beaverton to Clio to Bridgeport, John Glenn, Bay City, all the surrounding schools, to just talk to individuals about the opportunities to get into Dow through an apprenticeship program.
I love two things about this so much, in that apprenticeship as a whole, it offers this really remarkable pathway to people towards great jobs, good paying jobs that they may not have otherwise. I mean, college and really cultivating career and developing career starts at grade school, at high school, into college. But if you're a person that doesn't necessarily have that same background, you can live feeling stuck and like, well, I can't go back to college. I can't just take a time out from life and say, I'm going to take 7 years to go back to college and then I'll be able to start from the, like, it just is really, really daunting. As somebody speaking from that experience, like, you're 31, I was 31 at the time, looking at the rest of my life going like, well, what do I do? Like, I'm really, really stuck. And apprenticeship provides this really beautiful roadmap to learn skills that you didn't know before, while also making money, while also getting your foot into a company. And it just is really, really an amazing opportunity for so many folks.
Yeah, let me walk through that college space. So this, for us, is not an alternative to college, right? We're going to give you a pathway to a debt-free associate's degree. And what I found was individuals that look at apprenticeships and think, great, I don't have to go to school. I can just go learn hands-on tools, and then I'll be successful. What I end up finding is the individuals that are doing both. They're learning the technical skills in the field, and they're in class. They actually do better in college than they would if they just went aiming at, throwing a dart at the wall and hoping to hit a career that pays well. So we pay these students a paying wage to go to college. So I'll give you an example of their schedule. If you're taking 12 credits at Delta College, you get paid 12 hours for that. You get 1 hour of study time per credit hour that you are enrolled at Delta. So there's another 12 hours of pay. So there's 24 hours of pay right off the bat. And then you come into the plant for the other 16 hours, and you can spread that out 4 hours each day, 2 8-hour days on the weekend, whichever works for your study schedule and school schedule. And then you're paid a 40-hour a work week check. And to think about the individual sitting in the classroom, not having to worry about work and bills and top of study and school and all that, I believe that's really why it becomes so successful, is that it's all in one. We pay your books and your supplies. You go into the bookstore. I mean, it's the stress level is not the same when you're going through an apprenticeship program that's sponsored by Dow, simply because we take care of it all. We want to see you successful.
The thing that stuck out to me right away was getting paid not only for the time in class, but also assuming that 1 hour of study time per credit hour. That it shows so much thought that goes into the program, because I could be sitting in class and saying, okay, cool, I'm getting paid for the 12 hours that I'm here, but that's not all the time that is required of me because of school, because I'm here, but then I have to go to my job, but then I didn't do good in school because I didn't have time to study, like all of these other things. But the way that Dow works it seems, is, hey, we get that you're in school. We get that you have to study outside of school, so we'll pay you for that as well. And then you can come and apprentice here on site.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 3-year program. After that, I mean, you come in full-time, you have a full-time job with us. And then you work on those hours to journey out that apprenticeship. So 4,100 hours. And we're accredited with the Department of Labor. It's a nationally recognized apprenticeship. So you get this certificate, and for some, right, the associate's degree is huge, right? Some, for me, even my family, my parents didn't go straight to college. So when I got the degree, I went back in 2019. So I feel some of their pain. Really? I've walked their path of working full time and going to school and having a family and all
brutal.
the extras.
It's just absolutely brutal.
Yeah. Yep. So after they hit their hours, you get this nationally accredited Department of Labor certificate with your name on it, acknowledging your apprenticeship completion and your hours. And that's huge. And to these individuals, that speaks more volumes than any degree you can put in front of them. So I just think it's absolutely awesome.
Wow, this is incredible. I also want to pair this opportunity with the opportunity that there is in the job market right now. You sent me some stats, and I won't make you remember them. I'll list them right now. So, not only is there's so much construction going on, specifically here in the you have listed construction projects and manufacturing industry in the next 7 years in the Great Lakes Bay region is greater than $1 billion for iPark and the multi-county region with multiple companies. Can you explain that a little bit? Because I see like $1 billion and my brain just goes.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're creeping up on that. Now we're 6.5 years. So time's just rolling by. So yeah, $1 billion in the Great Lakes Bay region. So you got to think about these manufacturing and engineering plants. They're going to continue to grow. We're going to be challenged to be more sustainable. We're going to have to reduce our carbon footprint. That's going to take technology. That's going to take a skilled workforce. We're going to have to do things cleaner, safer, and better than we do now. So $1 billion. Now think about the healthcare industry, everyone else these buildings take a skilled workforce to construct. And it isn't just Dow. We have surrounding companies in the Great Lakes Bay region. We're all in partnership together to ensure that we're going to build, right? We're going to grow regardless. Finding that talent down to the middle school level and getting them engaged early to say, this is what I want. I want to be part of this growth. I want to learn what this new digital future looks like and how can I be a part of it. It's huge. And Dow is going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to do things better. It's what we do. We set the standard, right? So we're going to challenge ourselves to go and find that talent. And for me, that talent is truly a diverse talent pool. We used to think, I need the right talent, or I need the top talent, right? The right talent is a diverse talent pool. So when I say that with my own story being unique, raised by a single mom, not a whole lot of hands-on skills. I didn't wrench on cars, right? But when I interviewed for Dow and somebody took an opportunity or a chance on me to help build those skills, look, it worked out. And I think we have to look at those folks from different backgrounds, from different areas of the community, if we're going to continue this growth. Because a handful of students in a high school telling me they want to go into the skilled trades, it's just not enough. We need a lot more than that.
Well, I love that you mentioned that, because you have listed here just with the new construction, we would need an average of 300 extra skilled trades per year, a 4% growth. So we have this giant vacuum of open positions just here in the Great Lakes Bay region. So we need it. Like, if you want a job, here you go. Yeah, we need it. And honestly, with that 300, that's 1,000 more than if we just went and recruited for regular attrition through retirement or so that's 1,000 more than we planned for. Like I said, time's going to pass. These companies are going to grow. We just have to be a part of that growth. Yeah, you have 21% of our regional skilled trades over 55 years old. There's 1,700 plus likely to retire in the next 7 years. 12% of skilled trades in the 19 to 24-year-old population. And so there's a workforce gap. And so especially if you're a young person going, well, what is a field for me that I can actually get a job when I graduate? I mean, you're looking at it right here, those skilled trades, man. Yeah, absolutely. There's never been more opportunities put in front of high school students than there are right now. And it isn't just high school. If you're mid-20s, or even if you're want to switch careers, right? Here's something to get excited about. You can go out and switch careers at 30, 40 years old and still put 20 years in. And these people are going to retire, right? They earn their right to retire. They gave us a lot. Amen. So we have to get people in front of them, partnered with them, mentored with them, if we're gonna be successful through this growth. Yeah, I love that you point that out, because like that's the passing of the torch, right? Yeah. You have all of these folks who have put in decades and decades of critical work, building our stuff, building our building, all of these things. Like, we need them. we also need them to pass on all of that experience and all of that expertise and all the things that they've learned onto this younger generation, so that we don't have to restart from scratch, and so that we can continue this really incremental increase of skilled labor force, and we can just get better and better and better and better. And then I can come on as an apprentice, as a young person in a new field, and I can learn from guys that have been doing it for 40 years, 30 years, and that is priceless.
Yeah, the really exciting part is to get a young apprentice in and work with that individual that's been doing it for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then they blend the technology with the way they've done it for 20 years.
Right.
And you just saved that individual potentially an hour's worth of their day.
Yep.
Because you brought in the technology that wasn't there when they learned the job. And it's amazing to see in person. It's exciting, and our youth in the area and even young professionals should be really excited.
Yeah, how cool! You sent me this cool graphic about kind of highlighting some of the apprenticeship opportunities at Dow. We've got a process technician, mechanical, millwright, instrumentation, lab technician. Do you want to talk about any of those specifically?
Yeah, let's we can. So I come out of the process technician space, right? So high variety of tasks.
Yeah, give me like a 101 of what exactly a process technician does.
Yeah, our role is to really make sure the plant's running efficiently, take raw materials, make our product, get them off to customers, and then really troubleshoot those kind of everyday level scenarios where we have to process, troubleshoot something. Let's say a temperature is off a little bit. We got to realize, is this a real issue? Is it an instrument? And then I bring in the other trades, the instrument, the machine repair, my pump's not running right, whatever it may be. But day to day, yeah, your process, you have an ownership mindset behind your process. It's kind of like your house, you're the landlord of that area. Mm-hmm. If something goes wrong, if your plumbing breaks at home, right, you're going to call a plumber, and it's no different in the plant. So if my pump's starting to sound different, sound funny, I'm going to call in a millwright. My temperature's not balancing the way it's supposed to, I'm going to call in an instrument person, and they have the skills. We troubleshoot it together, right? We permit them, we prep the equipment for them to be safe and work on it. So we are all going home the same way we came into work, right? So it's really a blended workforce across all the trades. But my space, I'm a little biased to process technicians because it's where I come from. But you can take that space and be a process technician for 10, 15, 30 years if you would like. But really get a knack for something. Let's say your eye was drawn to more the safety side or more the environmental side. And then through our apprenticeships, we build off that associate's degree to then take your career maybe in a different direction. Maybe you want to be in the labs, right? Maybe you want to be, maybe you're really interested about water quality in the Great Lakes Bay region. So you want to go and work for our wastewater treatment plant. That's another area I came from. So I get finding those interest and real passions when you're in your roles. In the process technician role, it gives you really insight to all those opportunities that Dow has to offer. But all of our traits, I mean, all four that you just acknowledged, very valuable. Every one of them, lab technicians, a lot of sampling, a lot of making sure our qualities in spec for our customers, machine repair. Those individuals really have to be technical in their, I think of an individual that likes to work on vehicles, right? Work on their cars and fix their own vehicles. Well, the perfect millwright, maintenance technician. And then instrumentation, I think about somebody that likes to work with a low voltage electronics, right? Radios, things like that. How do things function? Somebody tears apart a radio, puts it back together. Perfect instrumentation folk, right?
Oh, you're getting me so excited. I just the opportunity, one, to learn skills that can be applied to multiple fields, and then connecting that with the flexibility of being able to say, hey, you've experienced, for example, the process technician role, but you're feeling really pulled towards a very specific niche. It's not like you have to start over from square one and hop on Indeed and like, oh, I gotta start over and looking for jobs in North Carolina. Like, no, like here's a pathway to say, oh, we love the fact that you're so interested in safety. Let's get you more skills in there, and then you can go the opportunity to pivot. I think sometimes our reluctance to choosing a career, especially when you're young, is like, I don't know if I'm interested enough in that to commit to it for the next 40 years, when this is a great opportunity to say, hey, here's the stadium of interest, and then once you have a more specific interest, let's dial you into that, and that's very intriguing to me.
That's where our best folks come out of operations from whether it be the maintenance department or operations. Once you get the plant's foundation as a whole, and you build off those foundational skills and learnings that you've had, you can take that into another career path, and it's huge. It's successful. And another thing that Dow does, and I'd like to hit on this, is if you were part of the military and you were an E6 ranking, that's equivalent to a bachelor's degree in Dow Chemical now. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it's huge, right? So we're changing the way we look at experience, people's backgrounds, where you come from, and it's awesome to see a change like that.
What I love about what you're saying, Robert, is going back to what you said about diversity, in that a lot of times we think about the word diversity, especially when it comes to workforce, in terms of race. And that is absolutely important. But something that you highlighted about your own story was a diversity of backgrounds. Like, here you are, a single mom. She didn't. I believe I remember she didn't go to college.
Right.
You're talking about veterans now serving in the military. I love that like broader definition of diversity, because, like you said, we could be dramatically overlooking some of the most talented individuals simply because they didn't have a flawless SAT score, or because they are a kind of person who is so wired to being experiential and working with their hands and doing things that sitting in a classroom for 8 hours a day in high school wasn't their jam, and their GPA reflected that. And meanwhile, we gloss over them because, oh, well, you got a 1.7 GPA, or you got a 2.0 GPA, when they could have been the absolute all-star employee that you've ever had in your entire history of your company, all because of that number. And so I love this expansion of diversity, and like, what's your background in any kind of way, and how can we make you successful, because we think that you are so valuable to our workforce. I love that.
Yeah, even the high school age students that think, well, I haven't been in the military yet, right? My background's limited. Well, when I sit in front of individuals and they tell me they're an Eagle Scout, right? Or they tell me they were a captain of a football team or a baseball team. I mean, I coach youth sports, so I know what that entails. I know what it takes to be called a captain, right? I know, I talk to these individuals firsthand. What's it take to be an Eagle Scout, right? So speak to those things. Like, if you're a young professional coming in, applying for an apprenticeship program, don't leave those things off a resume because you think, I don't want them to not take me seriously. Because speak to that. Because guess what? I just sat through 10 interviews and you're the only Eagle Scout. And now I'm intrigued.
Yeah. I love that. And especially coming from an employer looking for diversity, they don't want to look at the same exact resume 10 times in a row. They want somebody that brings a different kind of experience. Like, well, I wasn't great in high school, but I grew up in my dad's garage and I worked on dirt bikes for the last 20 years. Bingo, there we go. Guess what? That's a great transition into this role, and we've got just the place for you.
And people get into interviews. I tell high school students this all the time. You have to start fine-tuning those soft skills, right? So my daughter is a sophomore, and I can tell you can walk her in the room and she's going to just bright red face, nervous, don't want to talk, you know. So work on those soft skills with your counselors, with your coaches, with your peers, whoever you can work on those with, because when you come in, my goal when you come into an interview is to make you feel as comfortable as I can make you feel. We had an individual this past summer that interviewed. He pulled up in this big truck, big wheels, huge lift, nice paint job, and me and the 4 other interview candidates or interview team members, we looked at this truck and we're like, who is truck? That is an awesome truck. This kid walks in, 17 years old, and I'm like, is that your truck? And he's like, yeah. And I said, wow, that's all. Yeah, I did all the work to it. So that 5 minutes of him talking about his truck set the tone for the interview for the next 30 minutes. And it was a great experience to see him loosen up, because you could tell initially these students, these young professionals, they're nervous. They're a little nervous. Work on those soft skills. Talk about what you enjoy doing. I always tell people, find something that you enjoy doing, and everything else is going to fall into place. The schooling, the training, the mentorship, it's all going to work out.
Yeah, the mock job interviews go on in Western and Bay City Central, but something that we're working on is getting mock job interviews into all of Bay County schools, exactly for that reason. I mean, you think about the critical nature of a job interview, like it's a pretty big deal, pivotal moment in your life, but if you don't have any experience in actually in that situation, you're going in blind for a job that you really, really want, and you've never experienced that before. It sets you up for failure. And so being able to sit there across from a business person and kind of act your way through that, it can be such a valuable tool. I kind of like the tangent that we're going on here. Do you have any other tips for folks who are interviewing for apprenticeship positions or just positions in general, as far as like, hey, here's some things that I've seen that you could do to help stack the deck in your favor?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always tell people to be patient and then just be persistent. If you truly want to be in the skilled trades, really go after it. So there's going to be times where you come into interviews and you thought that went terribly wrong.
Yeah.
And for us, we might lose out on a good group of talent out there because we couldn't see past some of the things, or we couldn't hear everything you were trying to tell us. So I always tell people, when you go into an interview, take a deep breath, right? You have time. It's not a rush. When we ask you a question, take the time to think about a real life scenario and talk through what you enjoyed about that situation or what you learned from it. What we're really trying to figure out is how your skills can translate into the plant, into any of the roles, any of the skilled trade roles, direct hire roles, safety, whatever the case may be. We're trying to see who you are as a person in that scenario, looking for character, your integrity, all those things, right? So take a deep breath and then practice. On my drive over here, I'm talking to myself in the car because I'm nervous about this situation, right? So I'm like, how am I going to answer this question? So practice and then simply follow up. So after your interview, if you thought, wow, there's something else that I wanted to say I didn't get a chance to say. I can't tell you how many times I ran into somebody after an interview or we hired someone and they said, I really wanted to tell you about that time I worked on this piece of equipment or that camp I went to where it was really STEM driven. And like, well, why didn't you call us back?
Yeah.
I've had second interviews, phone interviews, follow up. It's really, it's for Dow, for us, we do everything we can to make it a very comfortable setting, multiple different, it's intimidating. You walk into a room, there's 4 people there, and now they're going to drill me with questions. They were all in your seat at one time as well. We have questions in front of us. I make it a goal to put the questions in front of you so you can read through it while we're asking it. Helps drive some of those memories back. But stay calm and then follow up and talk to your counselors about those mock interviews in the area. A lot of folks don't. Some areas do it a lot. I mean, really good, but a lot of folks don't. It's their first interview. Like, let's not make this your first interview, right? Let's make this your 10th one after practice.
Yeah. Even if it takes getting your wife, your husband, your partner, your 17-year-old across the dinner table from you and just like, here are the interview questions I want you to ask me, and then just practice. It sounds super silly. It sounds super fake. Like there's no way that this can help me. But that experience, if anything, it just calms you down a little bit. You walk into this room feeling at least 5% like, okay, this is a little bit more familiar than what I would have experienced going in blind. And that sometimes can make the difference. I love what you said about you're looking for good humans who do good work. Because to me, that kind of simplifies the process a little bit. You go in and you try to guess, well, they could ask me 7,000 different questions and I need to try to figure out the answers to each one. Or you can simplify it, but how do I communicate that I'm a good human ready to do good work for this company? And what I love about what you said about rehearsing your answers in the car for this interview is because I'm exactly the same way. Like, I get paid to do this work, and I get freaked out when people are like, "Hey, this is ABC 12. Can you come on for a live segment?" Like, no, I can't. Like, it's terrifying to me. But the thing is, like, here you are in this seat, being yourself. Being who you are. You're not trying to make stuff up on the fly. You're not trying to be like, well, how can I sound even more amazing? Like, that's a lot of pressure. But you sit in the seat and you be yourself and you talk like real humans. And I think that's just, it's more pleasant for one, but I think everybody just ends up being more successful because you're not trying to make yourself into seeing something that you aren't. Like, I was a Boy Scout, and let me tell you why that was important and how that shaped me as a human. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. We, even military, right? We see a lot of individuals that have a strong resume, background in military, and you look at, I'm not a military person, but I'm a huge advocate for everyone that served our country, and I thank them all for that. But when I look at their resume and see some of the things they have done in the military, and it's not coming across in an interview, I'm like, you have so much more you can speak to. Like, I see it, right? I see what you've done, and and I don't know if it's just the nerves. Worst thing that can happen is you get a second shot, right? You come back, knock it out of the park the second time.
Yep. Yeah, I think sometimes we get caught up in trying to say all of the things we think that interviewers want to hear. Yeah. When if you just double down and you just embrace your story, you embrace your experience, and then you find out the angle to use that as an advantage, that's how you win. You look at your military experience, and you could at one hand say, well, I've been in the military for the last 15 years, but they're not interested in a military guy. I need to talk about all the mechanical stuff I did in high school, when that's likely not true. They're looking at this 15-year career in the military. They want to know, like, what did you do? Why were you in there for so long? How did you think that changed you as a person? Because they're looking at that as an advantage. And if you gloss over that, man, you bunted when you could have hit a home run.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if somebody's listening to this interview and they're like, man, this apprenticeship program here at Dow, like, this is something I'm really, really interested in, where can people go to either contact you or to maybe get more information about how it works and what's available to them?
Yeah, so my goal is to be out in the community at a lot more high school events, all the skill trades events that are happening in the area. But our true recruiting, our posting for the apprenticeships goes up between January and March.
Okay.
So we put the posting up at careers@dow.com. If you see us at any event, we'll have a QR code. So you can scan the QR code, put your information in. So when I go to post that job in January through March, I will hit all those emails, say, hey, remember we met back in September. We're now interested in posting roles for millwrights. And we talked about, and so it really, students have a small attention span of who they interact with, who they meet at these events. There's 700 plus people at these events sometimes.
Yeah, I think you were at My Career Quest, and I mean, you just think about the mayhem. Like, everybody, you have 45 minutes to go to all of these different things, which is a fantastic way of doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you think about our attention span. Like, you sit me down at a career development fair for 4.5 hours. Like, sooner or later, I'm going to say, well, where are the free hot dogs? Yeah. But 45 minutes, like, it's fast paced. So to be able to check it out after, like, that's very cool.
Yeah. So January through March, our posting goes up, and then you're gonna have to be patient with me. March through May, I have to funnel through all the resumes with the team of individuals, and this is all of Dow. So if you're Louisiana, Texas, 11 plus sites, and I think we're opening it up in Canada here very soon. So cool. We're opening apprenticeship roles there as well. So March through May, we're starting to screen resumes, look through who we're going to bring in for the interview process. So if you're a senior, right, we're going to bring you in June for an interview. The goal is that you must be 18 years old, obviously before start of hire. I can't do background checks and so on a 17-year-old.
Right.
And then you come in the plant in July. So the goal is to start the new group of apprentices in July so that they're in the plant for a month and a half, get familiar with their mentors, get familiar with simple things. How do you drive? How do you badge in? Where's my locker? All that stuff, right? And then in the fall, you're off to school. So that's when you get into that schedule of
what a
10
brilliant
hours.
way to do that. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you drop an apprenticeship onto a new student at college, like, hey, today was your first day of college, and it was also your first day at Dow. Like, I mean, that's a lot of life happening at one time, and things slip through the cracks. So brilliant to start that before college. You get a running start at the plant, and then you can start college, and now things are off and running.
And I do want to preface that if we go through this, if you go through this phase, right, you apply, maybe you didn't get a call back or you didn't get an interview, what to do next, right? I still want to be a part of Dow's apprenticeship programs. If you go into the skilled trades department at Delta, they have all of our programs right there. So you can see what classes that you have to take if you are part of the apprenticeship program, and you can proactively take them. If you're if you're a junior and you want to dual enroll, right? I know this is the path I want to go.
Yep.
I'm going to go take a couple classes that I know are on Dow's program. By the time you get in front of me in the interview space and at the interview table, you're already a step ahead. So now you're not in school for 3 years. You might only be in school for a year, and then you're off full time to your apprenticeship learning. So you can get a lot of that stuff out of the way. Delta, they have everything. They have a whole department that'll speak to skilled trades, and this is for all the local companies in the Great Lakes Bay region. So if your field is welding, if it's scaffolding, if it's pipe fitting, if anything, maybe Dow doesn't have an apprenticeship for what you're really interested in, walk right into Delta and talk to them, and they will point you in the right direction.
Oh, man. And especially enticing, this idea of having a candidate sit in front of me as an interviewer saying, I didn't make it last time, but I looked at your list, and last year I took all of the classes that were available to me, and now I'm ready. To me as an employer, I'm going, oh, this is a gold nugget. Somebody who took the initiative to say, no, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to show you. I love that.
Yeah, I had a candidate follow me to 2 different career events. He knew I was going to be there. Introduced himself. I'm taking the classes, right? He was one that didn't meet the cutoff. The posting was down before he had a chance to apply.
Yeah,
but he went into Delta. He got the curriculum. He got enrolled. And then he's seen us at the Great Lakes Bay Invitational, came up, hey, I wanted to introduce myself. See me at another, hey, I'm still here, right?
Yeah.
That's that persistence that it takes sometimes to stay in front of these employers. And if you really want it, you really show that desire.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great timing for this interview to come out, considering the window that's opening in January. So folks, if you're listening to it, parents, if you're listening to it, and this seems like an opportunity for you, head to that website, get your eyes beaded on that January to March timeline, be ready to apply so that you don't miss that cutoff. Really take advantage of this opportunity. It's such a great opportunity, but it's also what impresses me the most is that it's such a well-designed program. It's not clumsily, we've got an apprenticeship program, check that box. It's really awkward and terrible and hard, and nobody's actually going to make it through, but you're actually building it so that these apprentices can go on to be successful and have a company that they can work for and proudly work for. And I love that. So Robert, I want to thank you so much. Dow, I want to thank you guys so much for giving us this opportunity here in Bay County, Great Lakes Bay region. Thanks for coming in, man. I'll have to have you back on. You crushed this interview.
Thanks, Phil.
For being nervous in the car. So thanks so much, Robert, for stopping by.
Thank you.
Cut. Yeah, bro, you crushed it. Oh, I want to quit whatever I'm doing and go back and be a Dow apprentice.
Oh,